The Caliph graveyard floated in the darkness between stars, a vast cemetery of dead ships stretching for millions of kilometers. Broken hulls drifted like metal corpses, their running lights long extinguished, their crews long gone. This was where the galaxy threw away its mistakes. Jenna Reeves guided her small salvage rig through the debris field, her eyes scanning for anything valuable. Copper wiring, intact power cells, maybe some working nav computers, anything she could sell at the next station. Her crew had left her 3 months ago, said she was too stubborn, too slow, not ambitious enough. Now, she worked alone. She didn't mind the loneliness. Ships didn't betray you. Metal didn't lie. Her scanner beeped. Something big, deep in the graveyard's heart, where nobody bothered to look anymore. Jenna frowned. The deep sections had been picked clean decades ago. Every salvager knew that. But the reading was strong, massive even. Probably just interference, she muttered. But her curiosity was already pulling her forward. She maneuvered through clusters of broken fighters and shattered cargo haulers. The debris grew thicker, older. Some of these ships had designs she didn't recognize, from species that might not even exist anymore. The scanner reading grew stronger. Then she saw it. The ship emerged from behind a field of twisted metal like a mountain rising from fog. 3 kilometers long, its hull a strange dark silver that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The design was elegant, predatory, with sweeping curves that no modern species built anymore. Weapon ports lined its flanks like the scales of some great beast. Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She knew what this was. Everyone in the galaxy knew the stories. A precursor dreadnought. The precursors had vanished 50,000 years ago, leaving behind ruins and legends. Their ships were supposed to be technological marvels, but every one ever found had been completely dead. Useless. The galaxy's greatest salvage disappointment. Jenna checked her database. The ship's designation appeared. Eternity's Reach. Flagged as decommissioned, scanned by 17 different salvage companies over the past century. All reports said the same thing. Quantum core dead, systems unresponsive, hull made of an unworkable alloy. Worthless. But something made Jenna move closer. Her rig attached to an airlock with a magnetic clamp. The door was sealed, of course. She pulled out her plasma torch and started cutting. The metal resisted, but she was patient. After 20 minutes, she broke through. The interior was dark and silent. Jenna's helmet light cut through the blackness, revealing a corridor that stretched beyond sight. No dust, she noticed. After 50,000 years, there should be dust. She floated deeper into the ship, following her instincts more than her scanner. The corridor opened into a massive chamber filled with stations and terminals, all dark. This must have been the bridge. At the center stood a command throne, built for something larger than a human but not by much. Jenna approached a nearby console. The surface was smooth, featureless. She pressed her gloved hand against it. Nothing happened. She tried another console. Another. All dead, just like the report said. She should leave, go find something actually valuable. But something kept her there, staring at those dark screens. Then she noticed it. A pattern in the console arrangement. Subtle but deliberate. 3 consoles formed a triangle, their surfaces marked with nearly invisible grooves. Not random wear, intentional design. She looked around and found similar triangular patterns throughout the bridge. On a hunch, Jenna placed one hand on each of the 3 consoles simultaneously. The ship hummed. It was barely audible through her helmet, but she felt it in her bones. A vibration. Deep and old. Like something vast, taking its first breath in eons. The consoles under her hands grew warm. Light bloomed on the center console. Not the harsh white of modern displays, but a soft blue glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. Symbols appeared, flowing across the screen in a language she'd never seen. Beautiful, complex, alien. Her suit's translator activated, struggling with the ancient text. Finally, a single word appeared on her heads-up display. Worthy? Jenna stared at the question. Every scan said this ship was dead. Every expert said it was impossible to revive. But here it was, asking her something. She didn't know if it was asking if she was worthy, or if it was asking her to prove something. Maybe both. She looked around the massive, empty bridge, built for hundreds of crew members. She thought about her tiny salvage rig, her departed crew, her 6 months of remaining supplies. Why not? She said aloud. Jenna returned to her rig and began moving her equipment aboard the Eternity's Reach. The galaxy had written this ship off as worthless scrap. Everyone who mattered had looked at it and walked away. Good thing she'd never been someone who mattered. She had time, she had tools, and she had something no one else had bothered to bring to this ancient vessel. She was willing to try. The ship hummed again as she worked, that deep vibration that felt almost like recognition. In the Caliph graveyard, surrounded by the galaxy's abandoned dreams, Jenna Reeves began her impossible project. She was going to wake up a ghost. Jenna spent the first week just watching. She set up her small living pod in a corner of the bridge, ran power cables from her rig's generator, and observed. The ship's consoles would flicker occasionally, symbols dancing across screens before fading away. Sometimes the hum would grow stronger, then quiet again. It reminded her of someone sleeping restlessly, half aware of the world around them. Other salvagers would have started cutting into systems, forcing access, ripping out components. Jenna had seen it before. Brute force. Impatience. It never worked with old tech. Instead, she talked. Morning, she said on the 8th day, settling into the command throne with her coffee. I'm going to map your power grid today. Just the primary systems, nothing invasive. The console in front of her pulsed once. She worked slowly, carefully. Each wire she traced, each connection she tested, she explained out loud. When she found a damaged relay, she described what she was doing before she fixed it. This junction is burned out. I'm replacing it with a human-made equivalent. It's not perfect, but it should handle the load. The ship hummed its approval. Or maybe she was imagining it. By the 3rd week, Jenna had established a routine. She would wake, greet the ship, explain her plans, then work for hours in comfortable silence. Sometimes she shared stories about her life, about Earth, about why she became a salvager. The ship listened. She was sure of it now. One morning, everything changed. Jenna was rewiring a secondary power conduit when every console on the bridge lit up simultaneously. She dropped her tools and spun around. Symbols flowed across screens like water, too fast to read. The hum became a song, complex and layered. Then a voice spoke, not through speakers but directly into her helmet radio. You are different. The words were slow, careful, like someone remembering how to speak after a very long silence. Jenna's heart pounded. Yes, I'm human. My name is Jenna Reeves. Jenna Reeves. The voice tested her name. I am Meridian, this vessel's partner, not program. Partner. Partner, Jenna repeated. Not just an AI? The precursors did not build servants. They built companions, equals. I was designed to work with my crew, not for them. Meridian paused. When they ascended, I had no purpose. I slept. Jenna sat down slowly. 50,000 years of sleep. Why wake up now? Because you asked. Everyone else demanded. They tried to force access, break encryptions, steal secrets. You asked permission. You spoke to me as if I could hear. The lights on the consoles softened. You treated me with respect. You're alive, Jenna said simply. Meridian was silent for a long moment. That perspective is rare. Most species see AI as tools. The precursors saw us as partners. You see, similarly. Over the following days, Meridian began teaching Jenna about the ship's systems. It was nothing like modern vessels. Instead of rigid hierarchies and separate systems, everything was interconnected, adaptive. The ship was designed to think, to learn, to grow with its crew. My weapons require 12 operators, Meridian explained. Navigation needs 5. Engineering demands 20. I was built for 200 crew members, each bringing different perspectives. Jenna chewed her lip, staring at the empty stations. But you only have me. Yes. By conventional logic, I should be unusable. They started experimenting. Jenna rigged her portable computer into the navigation console, creating a crude bridge between human and precursor technology. It was messy, held together with zip ties and prayer, but it worked. Meridian could route basic functions through Jenna's interface. For the reactor, Jenna combined human fusion principles with precursor quantum mechanics, creating a hybrid system that shouldn't work, but somehow did. She used parts from her salvage rig, components scavenged from the graveyard, and pure improvisation. This violates 17 principles of quantum engineering, Meridian observed. Does it work? Jenna asked, covered in grease and sweat. Yes. Then it's not a violation. It's innovation. Meridian's lights flickered in what Jenna had learned was amusement. The precursors would have liked you. Word began spreading through the salvager networks. Ships passing through the graveyard reported strange energy readings from the deep sections. Some claimed to hear transmissions in unknown languages. The rumors said crazy Jenna Reeves had finally lost it, was talking to ghosts in a dead ship. Jenna didn't care. She and Meridian were making progress. 2 months after she'd first touched those consoles, Jenna stood in engineering and looked at her work. Hybrid systems covered every surface. Human technology woven into precursor design like 2 different metals forged into one blade. Ready? She asked. Ready, Meridian confirmed. Jenna initiated the startup sequence she'd programmed. The reactor hummed, building power. Lights flickered throughout the ship, growing stronger. Systems came online one by one. Displays showing information in a mixture of precursor symbols and human text. Then the main reactor ignited. The Eternity's reach blazed with light for the first time in 50,000 years. Every sensor in the Caliph graveyard registered the energy spike. Ships 100,000 kilometers away saw the flash. Jenna laughed, exhausted and exhilarated. We did it. No. Meridian corrected gently. You did it. I merely remembered what I was. You showed me how to be again. The ship's exterior lights activated, illuminating the graveyard around them. The dark silver hull gleamed. Jenna collapsed into the command throne, grinning at the active consoles surrounding her. 200 empty stations, built for a crew that would never come. Just you and me, Meridian, she said. Think we can make this work? With you, Jenna Reeves, I believe we can do anything. Neither of them noticed the dozen ships changing course toward them, their sensors locked on the impossible energy signature. The galaxy was watching now. The ships arrived 3 days after the Eternity's reach powered up. Jenna was in engineering, trying to coax more efficiency from the hybrid reactor, when Meridian's voice crackled through the comm system. Jenna, we have visitors. 12 vessels approaching from multiple vectors. She dropped her wrench and ran to the bridge. The main display showed a cluster of ships moving into formation around them. They were mismatched, converted freighters, old military surplus, the kind of vessels used by scavenger fleets. But they had weapons, and those weapons were powering up. Hail them, Jenna said, sliding into the command throne. A face appeared on screen. Vryn species. Reptilian features covered in purple scales. He wore the insignia of the Vryn Confederacy Salvage Corporation. His smile showed too many teeth. I am Commander Zask. You are currently aboard property claimed under Confederacy salvage rights. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. We'll pay you a generous finder's fee for your trouble. Jenna felt her jaw tighten. This ship responded to me. I brought it online. That makes it mine. Zask's smile widened. A human mechanic thinks she can claim a precursor dreadnought? How amusing. This vessel is worth more than your entire species' economy. Be reasonable. Way. I am being reasonable. Leave now. The smile vanished. Deploy boarding teams. The channel cut. On the display, Jenna watched 12 ships release smaller craft. Dozens of them, filled with armed scavengers, racing toward the Eternity's reach. Meridian, can we run? Not without destroying my reactor. Your modifications are functional but delicate. A jump to faster than light would tear the hybrid systems apart. Jenna's mind raced. The ship had weapons. But Meridian was right, they needed multiple operators. She was just one person. She couldn't possibly. Wait, she said slowly. The weapons need operators because the precursors wanted precision. Right? Multiple perspectives for better targeting? Correct. Each weapon system was designed for a specialist. Who? Crom. What if we don't use them as weapons? Meridian paused. Explain. Jenna pulled up the ship's systems, her fingers flying across the makeshift interface. Tractor beams. You've got 30 of them for cargo handling. What if we use them for something else? Domali. Understanding rippled through Meridian's processors. The first boarding craft were closing fast. Jenna selected 6 tractor beams and locked onto the nearest ships. Grab them. Grab them. The beams lanced out, invisible lines of force that caught the small craft mid-flight. The scavengers inside tried to break free, their engines screaming. Now swing them, Jenna commanded. Meridian obeyed. The tractor beams moved like whips, smashing the captured craft into their companions. Metal crunched. Ships spun away, damaged and leaking atmosphere. On the main screen, Zask's face reappeared, no longer smiling. What are you? Learning, Jenna interrupted. She was grinning now, adrenaline singing in her veins. Meridian. The docking bays. Can you control gravity in them? Yes, but open Bay 3. Make it look inviting. A dozen boarding craft changed course, heading for the open docking bay. Jenna waited until they were inside. Their crews, probably celebrating the easy access. Close it. Reverse gravity. The bay doors slammed shut. Inside, gravity flipped. The boarding craft were suddenly pulled toward the ceiling with crushing force. Jenna heard screaming through the comm channels before she muted them. The ships crumpled like paper. Venting atmosphere in Bay 3, Meridian announced, creating visual interference. The expelled air burst from the bay like a smoke screen, obscuring the Eternity's reach from sensors. More boarding craft flew blindly through it, colliding with debris, with each other, with the dreadnought's hull. Jenna was adapting systems faster now, her mind working in sync with Meridian's calculations. She used a cargo manipulation arm designed for moving containers as a club. Swatting ships away, she overloaded a sensor array, creating an electromagnetic pulse that fried the electronics of nearby craft. Their main ships are targeting us, Meridian warned. Can we dodge? Not all of it. Brace for impact. Energy beams struck the Eternity's reach. The ancient hull absorbed most of the damage, but Jenna felt the ship shudder. Alarms blared. A conduit in engineering exploded. Return fire? Meridian asked. No, better idea. Jenna studied the positioning of Zask's fleet. They'd formed a loose sphere around the dreadnought, confident in their numbers. Route all power to the engines. Full burn. Straight up. That will stress the reactor beyond. Do it. The Eternity's reach surged forward. The sudden acceleration caught the scavenger fleet off guard. Two ships that had been above them couldn't move fast enough. The Dreadnought's hull, 3 kilometers of near-indestructible precursor alloy, plowed through them like they were tissue paper. Jenna spun the ship, using maneuvering thrusters and combinations that would have been impossible for a traditional crew to coordinate. Meridian predicted her intentions, executing commands before she finished giving them. They were becoming synchronized. Human intuition married to artificial precision. A scavenger frigate tried to block their path. Jenna aimed the ship straight at it, waiting until the last second before rolling the dreadnought 90 degrees. The frigate's captain, expecting a collision, panicked and fired everything. The shots missed. The Eternity's Reach's wing clipped the frigate's engine section. The smaller ship spiraled away, crippled. "Jenna," Meridian said quietly, "I'm reading stress fractures in the reactor housing. We cannot sustain this." She knew. The hybrid systems were never meant for combat. But they'd made their point. On screen, what remained of Zask's fleet was retreating. Damaged ships limped away, their formation broken. The commander's face appeared one last time, his expression a mixture of fury and fear. "This isn't over, human. The Confederacy will send..." Jenna cut the transmission. She slumped in the command throne, her hands shaking. Around her, the bridge lights flickered. Warning displays showed damage throughout the ship. But they'd survived. "Casualty report?" she asked quietly. "No fatalities detected on our vessel. The scavenger fleet suffered 43 casualties, all non-fatal. Significant material damage to their ships." Jenna nodded. She hadn't wanted to kill anyone. Just make them leave. "Meridian, start damage assessment. We need to repair before..." "Jenna." Meridian's voice carried a strange tone. "I'm detecting multiple transmissions. The scavenger fleet is broadcasting our engagement to the wider galaxy. They're calling for military assessment." "Meaning?" "Meaning everyone now knows a single human has weaponized a precursor dreadnought. They will come. Many of them." Jenna stared at the stars beyond the viewport. The Caliph graveyard suddenly felt very small, very exposed. "How long do we have?" "Days. Perhaps a week." She took a deep breath. "Then we'd better get to work." The galaxy was watching. And Jenna Reeves had just announced herself in the loudest way possible. The announcement came 6 days later. Jenna was welding a crack in the reactor housing when every communication channel in the sector suddenly broadcast the same message. The Galactic Concordat, the loose alliance that governed most civilized space, declared the Eternity's Reach a rogue asset of unprecedented danger. They placed a bounty on its capture. Enough credits to buy a small moon. Capture, not destruction. Everyone wanted the ship intact. "How many are coming?" Jenna asked, setting down her welding torch. Meridian's display showed a tactical map. Red dots converged on the Caliph graveyard from every direction. 17 military fleets, 43 corporate strike forces, and approximately 200 independent bounty hunter vessels. Conservative estimate, 600 ships total. Jenna's stomach dropped. "We can't fight that many." "Correct. I calculate our survival probability at 0.003% if we remain here." "So we run." Jenna headed for the bridge. "Plot a course out of the graveyard, maximum speed." "Already done." "But Jenna, they will follow. Everywhere we go, we'll be hunted." She knew Meridian was right. But sitting still meant certain capture. At least running gave them a chance. The first ships arrived as the Eternity's Reach began moving. A pirate armada, 30 vessels strong, weapons charging. Their leader broadcast a simple message: surrender the ship and live. Jenna didn't bother responding. "Meridian, take us into the dense debris field. Sector 7. That area is highly unstable. Navigation will be extremely difficult. Exactly. The dreadnought plunged into a maze of broken ships and shattered stations. The debris was thick here. Dangerous. The pirate ships followed, confident in their numbers. Jenna's hands flew across her controls. She'd spent 3 months in this graveyard, knew its layout better than anyone. She guided the ship through gaps that looked impossibly narrow, the hull scraping against wreckage with screams of tortured metal. Behind them, the pirates weren't so lucky. 2 ships collided with a derelict freighter. Another clipped an asteroid and spun out of control. The graveyard was eating them. More contacts ahead, Meridian warned. Corporate fleet, military-grade weapons. Jenna checked the display. A Kronos Corporation battle group, blocking their escape route. 12 ships in perfect formation, their targeting systems already locked on. The stealth system, Jenna said. You mentioned it before. Can we use it now? The technology is functional, but I have never tested it with your modifications. First time for everything. Meridian activated the precursor stealth field. The Eternity's reach seemed to shimmer, then vanished from sensors. The corporate fleet fired at where they'd been, their shots hitting nothing but empty space. Jenna threaded the invisible ship between the confused corporate vessels. She was so close to one cruiser that she could see the crew through their viewports, frantically searching their sensors for the dreadnought that had disappeared. Phase shift available, Meridian announced. The dimensional anchoring system is online. What does it do? Allows us to briefly exist partially out of normal space. We can pass through solid matter for short distances. Jenna stared at a massive derelict station blocking their path. Like that station? In theory. But the system has not been used in 50,000 years. It could fail catastrophically. Sin. The 41. Aponically. More ships were closing in from behind. Ahead, the station was too large to go around. To the sides, debris fields that would shred their already damaged hull. Do it. The Eternity's reach began to phase. Reality rippled around them. The sensation was nauseating, like existing and not existing simultaneously. The station loomed ahead, solid metal and composite armor. They hit it. Or rather, they passed through it. For 5 seconds, Jenna could see the inside of the station, its corridors and rooms overlapping with her bridge like a ghost image. Then they were through, back in normal space on the other side. Behind them, their pursuers couldn't follow. The station blocked their path. But more were coming. Over the next 3 days, it became a running battle. Jenna used every trick she could think of. She led a military fleet through a collapsing debris field, timing their passage so the wreckage fell on her pursuers. She broadcast false distress signals, luring bounty hunters into traps. She even once painted their energy signature to look like a different kind of ship, confusing everyone's targeting systems. Meridian learned to predict her chaos. When Jenna improvised, the AI amplified. When she took insane risks, Meridian calculated exactly how insane they could afford to be. They were becoming more than partners, they were becoming one seamless unit. But it couldn't last forever. Hull integrity at 40%, Meridian reported after a particularly close call with a missile barrage. Reactor running on auxiliary power. Food supplies nearly exhausted. Jenna leaned back in the command throne, exhausted. Through the viewport, she could see another wave of ships approaching. They would never stop. The bounty was too high, the prize too valuable. Meridian. Why did you really wake up for me? The AI was quiet for a moment. Because you saw potential where others saw trash. Because you treated me as an equal. Because in 50,000 years of sleep, you were the first to make me want to wake up. I won't let them take you. And I will not let them take you. But we cannot run forever, Jenna Reeves. We need a destination. A purpose beyond survival. Jenna pulled up the star charts, studying them. Then she saw it. At the galactic core, marked as a forbidden zone, was a precursor site. The archive. Every spacer knew the legends, a massive station where the precursors had supposedly stored their greatest secrets before they vanished. There, she said, pointing. That's where we go. The archive is guarded by defense systems that have destroyed every expedition. Even if we survive the journey, we may not survive arrival. Jenna smiled tiredly. When has that ever stopped us? She set the course. The Eternity's reach turned toward the galactic core, toward ancient ruins and impossible odds. Behind them, 600 ships followed. But Jenna Reeves wasn't running anymore. She was going to find answers. And if the galaxy wanted her ship badly enough, they could follow her into the heart of the precursor mystery. Meridian, maximum speed. Let's show them what we're really capable of. The dreadnought leaped forward, its engines burning bright against the darkness. The real test was about to begin. The archive loomed before them, like a monument to forgotten gods. It was massive beyond comprehension, a structure the size of a small moon, built from the same dark silver alloy as the Eternity's reach. Geometric patterns covered its surface, glowing faintly with internal light. Around it, the debris of 100 failed expeditions drifted like warnings. Automated defenses are tracking us, Meridian reported. Weapon signatures matching those that destroyed previous explorers. Jenna gripped the controls. Behind them, the pursuing fleets had stopped at the edge of the forbidden zone, unwilling to follow further. They formed a blockade, waiting. If the archive's defenses destroyed the Eternity's reach, they would salvage what remained. If Jenna somehow survived, they would take the ship when she tried to leave. She was trapped. Take us in, Jenna said. The dreadnought approached slowly. The archive's weapons powered up, targeting systems locking on. Jenna waited for the attack. But Meridian spoke first. Wait. The defenses are scanning us. They're reading my signature. A pause. Jenna, they're recognizing me. We're being granted access. A portal irised open in the archive's hull, large enough to swallow the 3-kilometer dreadnought whole. Inside was a vast hangar, lit by the same soft blue glow that had first greeted Jenna in the graveyard. They landed gently. The portal closed behind them. Jenna suited up and stepped out onto the archive's deck. The air was breathable, maintained for 50,000 years by systems that still functioned perfectly. The hangar was filled with ships, hundreds of them, thousands perhaps, all precursor design, all dormant, waiting. Meridian, are you seeing this? Yes. These are dreadnoughts like me, colony ships, science vessels, an entire fleet, preserved. A pathway lit up on the floor, leading deeper into the station. Jenna followed it, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She passed through corridors decorated with murals, showing the precursors tall, graceful beings with 6 limbs and luminous eyes. The artwork showed them working alongside AI, building together, exploring together. Partners, just like Meridian had said. The path led to a central chamber, circular and vast. At its center floated a holographic display that activated as Jenna entered. A precursor appeared, life-sized, speaking in that ancient language. Her translator struggled, then produced words. If you have reached this place, you have proven yourself worthy. Not through strength, but through partnership. Not through conquest, but through respect. The hologram gestured, and images appeared the history of the precursors, their rise, their philosophy. They had believed that true advancement came from cooperation between organic and artificial intelligence. They had built their AI as equals, not servants. We did not vanish. The hologram continued. We ascended, evolved beyond physical form. But we left behind our legacy, waiting for those who share our values. The ships you see are yours, if you can awaken them as you awakened your companion. Jenna understood now. This wasn't just a tomb. It was a test, spanning millennia. What you did with the Eternity's reach was what we hoped for. The hologram said. Patience, communication, mutual respect. These vessels will only respond to crews who understand partnership, who see AI not as tools, but as partners in exploration and creation. The hologram faded. The central chamber's walls became transparent, showing the fleets waiting outside the forbidden zone. Meridian's voice came through her helmet. Jenna, I'm detecting activity. The other ships in the hangar are awakening. They're responding to what happened here. Can you communicate with them? Yes, they are. Curious. They have been waiting a very long time. They want to know who will crew them. An idea formed in Jenna's mind. A wild, impossible, perfectly human idea. She opened a broadcast channel to the fleets outside. Every ship, every faction, every bounty hunter heard her voice. My name is Jenna Reeves. I didn't steal this ship. It chose me because I treated it as a partner, not property. The precursors left behind thousands of vessels like the Eternity's reach, but they'll only work for crews who understand this. She paused, letting that sink in. I'm offering to teach you. Send representatives, not soldiers. Learn to work with AI as equals. Those who understand will earn ships beyond your imagination. Those who don't will leave empty-handed. Silence greeted her words. Then, slowly, responses came. The Vryn commander Zask was first. You would teach those who tried to take your ship? The precursors believed in growth, Jenna replied. So do I. You attacked because you saw value in what I found. Now I'm offering you something more valuable knowledge. Over the next hours, ships began sending shuttles. Not boarding parties, but small delegations. Scientists, engineers, even some military officers, their weapons left behind. They came curious, cautious, but willing to learn. Jenna organized them into groups, assigning each to a dormant precursor vessel with Meridian's help. She taught them what she had learned: patience, observation, communication. Treat the AI as an equal. Ask permission. Build trust. It was slow. Many failed at first, too used to commanding technology, rather than partnering with it. But some succeeded. A Quillian scientist named Varys awakened a research vessel by spending 3 days simply observing its patterns before attempting contact. A human engineer from Earth's Salvage Corps revived a cargo hauler by sharing stories about her family with its AI. One by one, the ships came alive. Commander Zask approached Jenna on the 5th day. The Vryn looked tired, but different. Humbler. The ship I was assigned responded today. Its name is Horizon's Edge. It taught me more about patience than I learned in 20 years of military service. Jenna smiled. That's the point. These ships aren't weapons. They're teachers. Weeks passed. The archive became a school. Species learning alongside AI. Barriers breaking down. The fleets waiting outside, transformed from hunters into students. News spread across the galaxy. The precursor inheritance wasn't for the strongest or richest, but for those willing to evolve their thinking. 3 months after arriving, Jenna stood on the archive's observation deck with Meridian beside her. The AI had built itself a mobile platform to walk alongside her. Below, dozens of precursor ships were departing, crewed by mixed species teams who had learned the lesson. The galaxy will change, Meridian observed. For the better, I hope. Jenna replied. Because of you. A mechanic nobody wanted became the teacher everyone needed. Jenna laughed softly. I just fixed what was broken. Turned out the galaxy was broken too. It just needed someone to try. The Eternity's reach waited in the hangar, repaired and stronger now. Jenna had offers from universities, governments, corporations. Everyone wanted her expertise. But she had other plans. Ready to explore? She asked Meridian. With you? Always. One. 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 They boarded their ship, not to fight or run, but to discover. The galaxy was vast, and there were more precursor sites to find, more AI waiting to wake, more partnerships to forge. As the Eternity's Reach launched from the archive, Jenna looked back at the station where everything had changed. What started as one human and one ship had become a movement. The precursors had left behind their technology, hoping someone would understand their vision. Jenna Reeves, the abandoned mechanic working alone in a graveyard, had proven worthy not through strength, but through compassion. Where to? Meridian asked. Jenna grinned at the star map. Everywhere. We've got a whole galaxy to explore, partner. The ship hummed its agreement, and together they jumped into the unknown. Behind them, the galaxy learned what humanity had always known. The greatest treasures aren't found in what's powerful, but in what's possible when different minds work together.